Hello, my lovelies. It is time for my April wrap up, so stay tuned. So, it is currently the middle of May when I'm filming this. So, I'm going to try my best to remember what I read. I actually wrote it down a couple of minutes ago, and I swear I feel like I'm forgetting some books that I read, but I don't know. So it looks like I only read 4 books in April. I feel like I read more, but we're just going to go with 4 because that's all I can remember. The first, and these are not in any particular order because I can't remember the order in which I read them. But the first one I have is Between Sisters by Kristen Hanna. This follows 2 sisters who were like the best of friends. There was quite an age gap, and the older one pretty much raised the younger one, and they were super, super close. And they had a very neglectful mother. But then one day, the mother went on a trip and just forgot the kids were there and didn't come back for a long time. So the older sister called the father of the younger sister, and he came and took them, but it was never really like her dad, and her younger sister was getting the life that, you know, she would have liked for herself as well. She wasn't jealous. She was happy for her younger sister. She was sad for herself, though. And over time, they grew very, very distant. And now they're both adults. And they're being brought back together. And there's a lot of healing. And it was a really good book. And I gave it 4 stars. The next thing I put on my list is Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Bashardoust. This is a Snow White retelling, and it goes back and forth in time. We're getting the story of the wicked stepmother, the evil queen. We're getting her story leading up from when she's the same age as Snow White is later in the story. And it's going back and forth between then and now, and between Snow White and the stepmother. And it was so freaking good. The stepmother, her father he was like a magician, and he kind of created both of them in a way. The stepmother, she was created, not really created, but kept alive because her heart failed when she was a child, and he made her a heart of glass that kept her alive. And then the king and queen, the queen got very sick and she passed away. And the magician, he created Snow White from snow in the image of the queen. So she's like an exact replica growing up and looking identical to her and everything. But she is completely made of snow. And yeah, it was a really, really interesting take on it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I give it 4.5 stars. Next, I read Fahrenheit 451, and I went back and forth on this book because it was an odd book. In it, the firemen, they're not putting out fires, but instead starting fires. They burn down houses, they burn down books, and books and that kind of stuff are no longer allowed. And houses are fireproof pretty much. So they actually have to remove the fireproofing from the house so they can burn it down. And our main character, he meets a young girl, like a teenager, who kind of opens his eyes to questioning things, and it kind of rocks his whole world. There were some things about it that I was kind of like, at first I thought it was going to end up being something inappropriate with this man and this young girl, because I want to say he's in his 30s or 40s and she's like 15, 16. Fortunately, that was not the case, but that was the vibe that I was getting in the beginning. In the end, I did enjoy it, but it was kind of weird, and I gave it 3 stars. And then the last thing on my list is All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. This follows a mother whose baby was taken from his crib while she slept. And now she hasn't slept for a year. since he's been taken. She'll kind of like doze here and there, like micro naps, where she'll like kind of doze off for just a second, but that's it. But she hasn't had a good night's sleep in a year. And she's going to all of these different things, speaking in hopes of somebody knowing something and help leading her back to her child. Her marriage is now fallen apart. Her ex-husband is now moving on with somebody else, and she's struggling. And then at one of these talks that she goes to, afterwards she meets a guy that does like a true crime podcast, and he invites her to, hey, let's work together and maybe we can get you out to a bigger audience and maybe help solve this. Though he's not necessarily what he seems either. And I really enjoyed it. I don't know that I would read it again, so I'm going to give it a 3.75, but I did very, very much enjoy it. And those are all the books that I can remember. Have you read any of them? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!